From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. We've got major stories happening here in the United States and around the world. We'll get you up to speed on all of it, but first, a look at the headlines. Russia launches a non-nuclear intercontinental ballistic missile at the Ukrainian city of Dnipro. This is the first time in history that an ICBM has been used in war. Israel carries out airstrikes in central Syria, killing at least 70. Israel says it targeted Hezbollah fighters and pro-Iran militants in the air raid operation. Mali's military junta appoints a military officer as the country's new prime minister. The move comes after the previous prime minister was deposed after criticizing military rule. The West African nation's army also dismissed the cabinet following the dissent. A major storm batters the west coast of the United States, killing at least 2 in the state of Washington. The powerful hurricane has left over 70,000 without electricity. And Canada approves Elon Musk Neuralink to undertake clinical trials on brain chip implants. Neuralink says its device would give paralyzed individuals the ability to use phone and laptops just by thinking. We begin in the United States, where Texas authorities have offered President-elect Donald Trump around 1,400 acres of land along the U.S.-Mexico border to make deportation facilities for illegal migrants. In a letter sent to Donald Trump, Texas Land Commissioner Dawn Buckingham said she's committed to using every available means to secure the U.S. border completely.
My office is fully prepared to enter into an agreement with the Department of Homeland Security, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or the United States Border Patrol to allow a facility to be built for the processing, detention, and coordination of the largest deportation of violent criminals in the nation's history.
The Texas official said she recently acquired the farmland from a person who refused to allow the government to build border walls on the property and blocked land access to law enforcement. Now the land, which is located near the Rio Grande City, could be used as part of the president-elect's wider deportation strategy. Taking office in January, the incoming commander-in-chief is expected to build vast facilities to serve as staging centers for mass deportations and deploy National Guard to expel millions of undocumented migrants.
The real threat is what's happening at our border, because you have thousands of people being killed by illegal migrants coming in and also dying. You have women dying as they come up. They're coming up in large groups. We call it a caravan. I think I came up with that name, but it's really what it is. 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 people. And you have large numbers of women being killed in those caravans coming up to this country. And then when they get here, they can go into the country and they end up being sex slaves and everything else.
Currently, immigration agencies use camp-like facilities, brick-and-mortar buildings, and prisons to house detainees. Meanwhile, on the other side of the border, a new caravan of around 1,500 migrants left southern Mexico to try and cross into the United States. Most of these migrants are from Central and South America who fear Donald Trump's return to the White House will tighten U.S. border security and limit asylum.
Well, we're afraid that we might not be able to pass because of Trump. We trust in God because he is first and is the God who can do everything, the God of the impossible. And we go with high expectations, right?
Vamos con expectativas altas, ¿verdad? I don't know, we have to wait. We have to keep walking. We have to wait for him to become president and decide what to do with us. We are all waiting for his answer, whether he will let us cross into his country or he will deport us to Venezuela.
The migrants hope the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Program will continue to operate after Donald Trump's inauguration. The president-elect has vowed, however, to end the CBP program, which has brought some degree of relief to asylum seekers along the U.S.-Mexico border.
We are very afraid because supposedly they are going to start closing CBP-1 appointments. So many of us are very afraid. We ask the government of the United States to help us because there is a lot of need in our countries. Violence, extortion, various reasons. We know that Mexico also has problems, but we ask our Mexican brothers to support us, to give us free transit, and everyone can support us with beans, with tortillas, whatever, because we can support each other.
And now, with just 2 months before Donald Trump's inauguration, it seems like the president-elect's stricter immigration policies could eventually crush the hopes of millions of migrants outside and inside U.S. territory. And staying in the United States, billionaires Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, who will lead President-elect Donald Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, want to end remote work for federal employees. In a recent op-ed in the Wall Street Journal, Musk and Ramaswamy are hoping their plan will reduce the headcount across government agencies. The two tech industry figures said working from home is a COVID-era privilege and tax-paying Americans should no longer cover it. One of Donald Trump's biggest financial supporters, Elon Musk, has repeatedly vowed to cut $2 trillion from the annual budget, a goal that seems almost unachievable. According to the Treasury Department, the U.S. spent nearly $7 trillion in fiscal year 2024. Musk believes that the U.S. government also only needs 99 agencies, not the more than 400 that currently exist.
All government spending is taxation. So whether it's direct taxation or all government spending, it either becomes inflation or it's direct taxation. Your money is being wasted, and the Department of Government Efficiency is going to fix that.
Now, along with the possibility of layoffs, Ramaswamy and Musk have floated the idea of requiring government workers to come into the office 5 days a week. Last month, Musk suggested that he would consider giving laid-off employees severances that could cover up to 2 years of salary. And in the latest opinion piece, the two men said DOGE will help the terminated employees transition to the private sector. Meanwhile, America's federal employees unions are lining up lawyers and preparing for public protests to escape mass firings as they face a new era of job insecurity.
Elon Musk has no experience in government. I think he's lived a fairly unrestrained life, and he's going to come into a role and be given, I assume, carte blanche to make all kinds of suggestions and maybe actual changes. We'll see what kind of authority he has. But I think it's going to be a hard learning curve for him to understand that a president isn't a king, or at least it's not supposed to be in this country, and that you're going to run against constitutional issues, you're going to run up against the law, you're going to run up against mandates of Congress.
There's a lot of things that people are a little bit nervous about as again, when you start thinking about, okay, well, where do I go next? Or should I buy a car? Should I not buy a car? Should I do that home remodeling or not? Depending on, okay, what is my financial basis going to look like, within the upcoming next 4 or 5 years, for instance. So that's where I think some of the nervousness and uneasiness also is coming from.
It's important to note that the United States has over 2 million employees in the federal workforce, and around 1.1 million are in fact eligible for some amount of telework. About 228,000 workers are currently in remote positions with no expectation that they will return to work in person. Data clearly shows that Musk and Ramaswamy's plan of making work from the office compulsory will likely impact thousands, if not millions, of lives. And speaking of Elon Musk, Google CEO Sundar Pichai called the president-elect after the election results. And now a report from American media firm The Information claims that Elon Musk was present on that call in what is becoming a frequent occurrence. Google CEO is yet to comment on the call. However, tensions between Musk and Pichai have been frosty for months now. The Tesla CEO accused Google of favoring Vice President Kamala Harris over Donald Trump during the election. And tech giants like Google, Microsoft, and Apple overwhelmingly supported Kamala Harris and even endorsed the Democrat. Now, following Donald Trump's win, big tech CEOs called Donald Trump to congratulate him on his win. However, there is no clarity about how many times Donald Trump asked Elon Musk to join those calls. Now, what is already known is that Musk did join the call between Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and Apple are preparing for Donald Trump's return to the White House, along with his erratic and unpredictable trade policies. The president-elect has promised to put sanctions and tariffs on China, which would severely impact the supply and production chains for these tech giants. However, economic experts believe that Donald Trump's close ties with Elon Musk will benefit Tesla and its mega factory in China, and other tech giants are now cozying up to the president-elect to protect their interests as well.
There is more scope for the Chinese government to try to attempt to use Elon Musk as a friendly voice in the Trump administration to moderate the Trump administration's policy towards China. But then we have to get back into the reality of a Trump administration, which is that Donald Trump is first and foremost about Donald Trump. And Elon Musk is an invited guest who is meant to do things for Trump. And if there is a difference between what is best for Trump and what is best for Musk, Trump wins every time.
Meanwhile, experts believe that despite Elon Musk calling himself Donald Trump's quote-unquote first buddy, the president-elect will not go easy on Beijing.
Well, I think tariff and a much tougher trade approach towards China under the second Trump administration is a given. Whatever you think about Donald Trump, most of the time he does what he says. And it's very, very clear that he really loves tariffs. The question therefore really is how high the China tariff will be and how broad it will be, and whether the presence of Elon Musk in the Trump administration may result in an exception being made to Tesla vehicles produced in China.
Now, amid the backdrop of Donald Trump's back and forth with tech giants, it's also important to note that he also has named Brandon Carr to lead the FCC, who is known for being a big tech critic and has also written to Google, Microsoft, and Apple to restructure their censorship policies. Donald Trump has himself accused Facebook and Instagram of censorship and has threatened to break up Google for its monopolistic practices. America's tech giants also face multiple lawsuits worth billions of dollars in the United States and the European Union and are now looking to Donald Trump to give them an exit. However, it's unclear if Donald Trump will in fact be neutral or biased towards his so-called first buddy, Elon Musk. And now in the Baltic Sea, a hub of global trade and communication has become the center of a growing mystery. Two vital undersea cables that are lifelines for Europe's internet and data have been severed. Investigators suspect sabotage, and a Chinese cargo ship is now under scrutiny. Here's more from the site of the mystery.
The calm of the Baltic Sea was shattered this week when two vital undersea cables abruptly went offline. These cables, carrying crucial internet and communication traffic across Europe, are lifelines for the continent's data infrastructure, and their simultaneous failure wasn't a coincidence. It was swift, precise, and deliberate. Now, all eyes are on a growing mystery. Was this a sabotage? Sweden and Finland are leading the investigation, and one name has emerged: the Yipeng 3. This Chinese-flagged cargo ship was tracked passing near both cable sites just 3 days after it left a settlement in Russia. Since then, Danish Navy vessels have been shadowing the ship, while Swedish authorities confirmed it is under scrutiny.
There is an inquiry going on right now by the Swedish police authorities, and they're investigating this as an act of possible sabotage, but I can't speculate in specific vessels that could be involved at this stage.
The cables in question are far from ordinary. One stretches a staggering 1,170 kilometers, connecting Finland to Germany, while the other links Sweden to Lithuania. These underwater arteries are vital to Europe's digital connectivity. Repairing them will take weeks, but the bigger question is who severed them and why.
This is a very serious matter, that the communication cable between Sweden and Lithuania is affected, and I think there's a possibility that they can mend the cable as such.
Denmark's defense minister minced no words when addressing the incident. Danish authorities are following the development closely, he said, signaling the gravity of the situation.
In relation to the matter surrounding the damaged data cables in the Baltic Sea, I would like to make it clear that I am, of course, taking this very seriously, not least in light of the current welfare and security policy situation. I also note that both the German and Swedish sides have publicly said that they suspect that there may be sabotage. And in that case, it is of course very worrying. I can also say that the relevant Danish authorities are following the development closely.
Germany's defense minister, Boris Pistorius, echoed these concerns, describing the cable breaks as a potential hybrid action.
I don't like to believe in the version that these were anchors that accidentally caused, how shall I put it, damage above these cables. So we have to conclude, without knowing exactly who did it, that it was a hybrid action. And we also have to assume, without knowing it, of course, that it is sabotage.
All fingers are being pointed at China. However, Beijing has denied any involvement. Its foreign ministry insists that Chinese ships comply with international laws. Meanwhile, Russia, often accused in cases of infrastructure sabotage, dismissed allegations of involvement as laughable and absurd.
China has always fully fulfilled its obligations as a flag state and requires Chinese ships to strictly abide by relevant laws and regulations. We also attach great importance to the safety of submarine infrastructure and actively promote the construction and protection of global information infrastructure, such as submarine cables, with the international community.
The Yipeng 3 continues to be closely monitored, but it's not the only vessel under investigation. The Baltic Sea is one of the busiest waterways in the world, with thousands of ships crossing it daily. This dense traffic complicates efforts to point culprits, turning the investigation into a logistical nightmare. Despite the challenges, Swedish authorities are scoring the seabed for evidence, while the Danish Navy keeps a watchful eye on the Yipeng 3. For now, the Baltic Sea has returned to its eerie quiet, but the silence speaks volumes. The cables didn't cut themselves. Someone is responsible, and Europe is looking for answers.
And finally, in Italy, where a tiny Sardinian village has come up with the ultimate escape plan for Americans reeling from the recent election. Ololai is now offering homes for just about $1, asking Americans to move to Europe as Donald Trump prepares to take office. The village is betting big on Americans to help revive its shrinking population, offering ready-to-move-in houses and free stays for digital nomads. Could this be the ticket for Americans wishing to leave the political circus and embrace La Dolce Vita. Our final report has more.
For many Americans, the recent presidential election has reignited an old fantasy, packing up and leaving the country altogether. With Donald Trump back in the White House, a wave of how to leave America searches is sweeping the nation. Enter Ololai, a sleepy Italian Sardinian village with a life-changing offer of $1.06 homes. Nestled in the mountains of Italy's second-largest island, Ololai is promising a fresh start to those looking to escape political fatigue. Its cheeky new website gets straight to the point. Worn out by global politics, build your European escape in paradise. Mayor Francesco Colombo sees this as the perfect moment to make his pitch.
Americans will have a fast-track procedure. We are betting on them to help us revive the village. They are our winning card.
And has laid out 4 housing options for expats ready to embrace La Dolce Vita. The first, homes for just $1.06, with renovation cost between $21,000 and $52,800. Second, buyers must commit to completing this work within 3 years and pay a deposit to prove that they mean business. Third, for those who prefer to skip the hammers and nails stage, move-in ready homes are available for over $100,000. And fourth, if you are a digital nomad looking for adventure, Ololai offers free temporary housing for a lucky few. The trade-off? Contribute to the community with projects like workshops or art installations. Now it's worth noting that Ololai's campaign isn't just about cheap homes, it is about saving a village. Decades of population decline have left Ololai with just 1,150 residents, down from more than 2,200 a century ago. Like many Italian villages, it faces extinction as young people leave in search of better opportunities. Since 2018, Ololai has sold only 10 $1 homes. But with over 100 empty properties left, the mayor is determined to fill them. Photos of available homes will soon be online. He promises, showcasing everything from granite shepherd cottages to turnkey villas. And beyond affordable housing, Ololai is also offering a lifestyle few can resist. Think pollution-free air, stunning mountain views, and rich Italian traditions. Locals celebrate with goat costume carnivals in February and cortes apertas in the fall, where visitors can enjoy wine, cheese, and open courtyards. So, is it time to trade politics for pecorino? Ololai has the keys to your escape, but act fast. Those $1 homes may not last long. Or will they?
That's our show for today. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you right back here again tomorrow. Have a great day. From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth